Sin City, USA, the site of tonight's race for the Fuel Grand National Series. Race number 5 of the season here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Hi, hello, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sin City, USA, like we said, as we get ready for 100 miles around the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It is the Las Vegas 100 here for the Fuel Grand National Series, race number 5 of the season, if I'm not mistaken, here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Trey Wright, as well as the Colonel Caleb Rose, bringing you action all night long for tonight's 67-lap event here at the old version, the original version of the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And Caleb, we know what this track can absolutely hold here. We have seen it in the Sportsman Series, and we saw it in Grand National last year. This is going to be one heck of a race here tonight, like it always is in Grand National, but especially at this beauty of a flat track that we've got here in Vegas.
Absolutely. It always seems like no matter what series we bring here to Las Vegas, it always is just an absolute treat. And considering how great this Grand National Series season has been so far, I think we're definitely in for another spectacular race here today. This racetrack definitely very, very interesting. Like you mentioned, the older version of Las Vegas, so a lot flatter than modern day Vegas is. So it'll definitely be a bit of a challenge here for a lot of these drivers. And that does bring forth challenges as well with making a good setup for this track. If you want to get your car faster, you're probably going to have to make it pretty loose. So that'll be something to definitely watch out for. But regardless of the fact, should definitely be a very, very fun one, like it always usually is here from Las Vegas.
Definitely is always fun. We got 18 cars right now in the server. Make it 19 as one other driver just popped in. I believe that was John LaPrade up in the server in that number 74 car. We'll see where he is on track, and there he is in car number 74. So 19 cars in the server right now. We got about 2 minutes to go here in practice. But like you were talking about, Caleb, this is the old version of the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You know, the modern version, we got 18 degrees in the corners, but on this version, it's 12 degrees in the corners, which is a lot flatter and makes it a lot more technical than the current Vegas track that we see here on NR2003, and we'll see in a couple of days over on the Mission Barbecue Cup Series side of things. But Connor Edwards, right now, top of the charts, the only driver that has been able to put down a sub-31 second time, running a 30.955, and has been really consistent in his laps so far. You know, and Crystal Bennett, same thing for her. She's just 2/1000ths of a second off of running a sub-31. Apollo Hyde, the deepest on the practice pylon that we've seen all season long, Caleb. We could see some dark horse favorites for this race, especially at such as a fun track as Vegas, and such a wild card track as well, for that matter.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely something else of note that this track has. We've kind of seen in races past that this track could definitely kind of favor underdogs a little bit. So we've seen it quite a bit in the past. Have to see if we can see it today. But yeah, so far, fantastic effort here in practice by Connor Edwards. Although it does look like he has been knocked off the top of the board by who else but the 100 of Apollo Hyde.
Just as we're talking about it.
Just as we were talking about it.
Apollo Hyde back in that orange juice Subaru, as well RJ Bishop doing RJ Bishop things up into the outside wall. It's been almost 15 years since Dan Weldon died. So maybe, I know, it's never in good in good taste. Caleb, I wish that you saw what I just saw as Blake Warren. Blake Warren is, hey, Tate Dorsey's in here, so now we got 20 cars. Blake Warren literally came at us like an action movie. Just based on the cam file that I've got, a modified version of the one we used for the Mission Barbecue Cup Series. We got a new player out here, William Gregory in that number 31 car, making his season debut in that great Clips Jason Leffler throwback, if I'm not mistaken. He's going to be one of 20 cars out here on track as we are finished here with practice. We'll go into qualifying, but right as we go here into qualifying, we'll take a look at the projected analysis. Like we said, up until Tate Dorsey jumped in 2 minutes before or a minute before practice ended, we had 19 cars starting initially, but now we've got 20. It's going to be a 67-lap race, exactly 100 miles. Haha, funny 6-7 memes. But like we saw last year, this was a race that was thoroughly dominated by Zach Rogers. And again, Zach Rogers being Zach Rogers, he's going to dominate everything that's not nailed down. We could see a much better field. We could see a much closer race. And especially with that fall off we're going to see these guys falling off by maybe a second to maybe even 1.75 seconds. Going to see these guys come down about every 34, 35 laps. So this should be good for only one set of pit stops if this race goes caution-free. But, given the chaos that we've seen here in the past, Caleb, we don't know if this race is going to go caution-free. I highly doubt it, but it's going to be fun. It's always fun. And, you look at the track itself, your run-of-the-mill D-oval. It's, got 4 corners, 12 degrees in each of them. And it's going to be a blast as Dunlop jumping to the top of the charts in qualifying right now. But this is, this and probably aside from Kansas, these are probably going to be our 2 relatively normal but also really exciting races on the year. As no surprises, Paulo Hyde jump into the top of the charts in Q. But what are your expectations going into this 5th race of the season, if I'm not mistaken? What's going to be just an absolute blast.
Definitely, I think, expecting a pretty interesting race like you were kind of talking about. Whereas at the older version, the flatter version of Vegas definitely makes it quite a bit more technical, but still, for some reason, this track definitely, like I said, always seems to favor quite a few wild card drivers. So, honestly, not really sure what we could potentially expect out of this racetrack here tonight. We definitely got a lot of strong drivers here in this, a lot of heavy hitters. Got some newbies in the field as well, which is definitely nice to see. Excited to see how guys like William Gregory and Laura Trenier can do, but definitely going to be very, very interesting. But this qualifying does wrap up here. You got Apollo Hyde, looks like she's going to win the pole. Dunlop starting alongside. You got Focusato, and then rounding out your top 5s, talking about those dark horses, R.J. Bishop and Connor Edwards.
And Blake Warren, too.
Here in qualifying. Yeah.
Blake Warren up there with a 2/3 of the Warren Wentz Racing Brigade going to be starting inside the top 6. And again, we saw it in a sportsman race here a couple of months ago where Blake Warren was in contention right at the very end of that race to try to get the job done. As you'll see, Crystal Bennett, Rich Roy, and Drew Fast, the only 2 drivers that did not take a lap. But it's going to be interesting. It always is. And again, Connor Edwards, he's been sneakily good so far at a lot of these tracks. And, I think it's going to be fun. It's always fun. When it's not fun, it's weird. It's weird when it's not fun. But I don't know. We're having fun. That's the main point of all this, is to have fun. And we are definitely having fun. I just hit the wrong button trying to find the ticker. There we are. As we get our ticker a little bit updated here as we go into happy hour. Connor Edwards, first one out. But going over your starting lineup once again, Apollo Hyde and Dunlop are going to be on the front row, with Focusato, Bishop, Edwards, and Warren rounding out the top 6. Ike Durbin, William Gregory starting in 8th for his season debut. Emmy Schizzato and Grant Warren rounding out the top 10. Tyler Stallhood, Trek Tugger, Taylor Stolworthy, Andrew Estrada making his 2nd start of the season. Tate Dorsey, Bud Kerrang, and Laura Trainer. Trainer making her season debut in the number 19 Progressive automobile. The last of the 17 cars to put down a lap, with Crystal Bennett, Rich Roy, and Drew Fast the only cars that did not put down any sort of laps. As there is Trainer in that number 19 Progressive automobile, with Trek Togger right behind her in that Suburban Cowgirl Steakhouse Chevrolet Camaro too. A lot of good paint schemes in the grid tonight. My personal favorite, that Arizona Green Tea machine of Grant Warren. I'm hoping to see that car up towards the front of the field, potentially in victory lane. An absolutely beautiful car. And again, qualified inside the top 10. See what Grant will be able to do. Is it's going to be fun. A lot of good paint schemes in the field, like we said. Blake Warren, we didn't get a chance to mention it before he went right into the camera well, but throwing it back to the Kobe Bryant, Ryan Blaney scheme. Of course, you know, with Bam Adebayo, of all people, breaking Kobe's single season or single game point record, I felt like, you know, that's a little bit appropriate. Rich Roy going back to his throwback scheme. RJ Bishop to the Greg Biffle throwback scheme as well. A very diverse group of liveries out on track that are looking really, really solid, Caleb.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always fun to see really diverse paint scheme pools such as this. It definitely makes for a very, very nice looking field. I also really do like that 33 Arizona Iced Tea car where I really like, you know, that nice blue, and the number font as well looks really, really nice. And I'm really glad Rich Roy as well running it back in that Kodak 29. I'm honestly such a sucker for this car. I really like the colors and everything, and looks very, very nice. You got RJ Bishop there and the, I believe, Greg Biffle throwback there right behind him, which is nice to see. And, of course, like you were talking about, Blake Warren running the Kobe tribute, which is definitely nice to see as well. And that was definitely crazy to see that the record was broken the other night. But, yeah, a lot of interesting schemes here tonight, and definitely going to play into what is undoubtedly going to be a very, very fun race. We'll just have to see whose diverse livery will end up in victory lane. We'll just have to see.
Well, we've got about 90 seconds to go before we'll line them up on the back straightaway and grid them up too, as we got a couple of drivers missing out tonight. You know, originally, Dunlaprod, we originally had him scratched off, but he is on here. We're just missing Corbin Wentz and Kenny Campos, as Kenny, we see you in the chat. Kenny is doing a league race in iRacing, filling in for another driver, so him pulling a little bit of double duty later on or earlier tonight. So we wish him the best of luck in the iRacing ventures. As you know, other than those guys and a couple of other stragglers, you know, we thought Anthony Bauer, he might be in here, but he is not going to be in for the second week for 2 weeks in a row. And we haven't seen Jelaine Ruby Sims yet on track either. She updated her car in the folder earlier, so that gave us a little bit of hope to see that 06 car out on track. Of course, Zach Rogers' protege, which was just as dominant as Zach was last year. You go back to that incredible race at Mid-Ohio. But, yeah, for the most part, everybody that should be here is here. Nicky Conti, also another notable absentee as well, and same thing with Rafaela Sorensen. But other than those select drivers, it's pretty much a full house here as we get ready to go downstairs for 67 laps around the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And Caleb, who's your pick to end up winning the Las Vegas 100? A race which got a lot of favorites, but only one driver can stand on the top pedestal.
Like I was talking about, definitely already have a lot of strong drivers in this field, but just with the unpredictability that this track has and the underdogs that it really lets into the spotlight, I don't really know who's going to take the checkered flag tonight, but honestly, I definitely still got my eye on that 100 car of Apollo Hyde. If she just had maybe one or two more laps last time out, she could have definitely gotten that win after really tough circumstances as well. She pretty much struggled throughout the entire race, getting actually kind of caught up in stuff that wasn't her own fault. But I definitely look out for that 100 car tonight, looking for maybe a bit of redemption here in Viva Las Vegas.
I'm looking for that 100 car as well, as we will set them on the back straight away as we send things downstairs for pre-race ceremonies and command to fire the engines for tonight's 67-lap race in Sin City, USA. Part of our big Las Vegas week here on the North American Sim Racing Network. We got Fuel Grand National here tonight. We got NBCS later on this weekend on Saturday afternoon. But of course, it's going to be a fun one. 20 cars on the grid as we send things downstairs for the command to fire the engines for race number 5 of the Fuel Grand National season number 8. The Las Vegas 100 here on the NASRN from Vegas.
Drivers, start your engines!
And we are ready to rock and roll for 100 miles in Sin City. Apollo Hyde starting from that pole position in that Orange Juice Marvelous Racing Subaru. Dunlop Prod starting to the outside as well. RJ Bishop and Vincenzo Focusato, row number 2. Connor Edwards starting just inside that top 5 spot. Gonna be a fun one, as it always is, and we're glad to have everybody aboard here for the 5th race of the season. The Chevy Camaro pace car already peeling off of the pit lane. Apollo Hyde won the Sportsman race here about 8 months ago, and she will lead the field to the green flag. In the Grand National race 8 months later, we're green flag racing in Sin City, USA. Here we go.
Boogity boogity.
And a strong start for that 100 machine as Apollo Hyde will lead the opening lap of the afternoon. And around the corner she goes, now fighting for that second spot, Arla Prod and the 48. Those two battling side by side, now they're nose to tail. And it looks like we had one driver come in late, I believe we had one driver kind of mess up the ticker there for a brief moment, trying to figure out who it is, but for the time being, Apollo Hyde with that race lead right now, and RJ Bishop running pretty comfortably in that second spot, and a pretty good start for Connor Edwards as well in that 02 car. He's moved up a spot, and right now, sitting comfortably in 4th as everybody has filed things out for the most part to start off this race. We had 19 cars start their race. One driver did not, and around goes Tate Dorsey. That 6 machine hard into the outside wall in turn number 4, and the yellow flag is going to fly as Andrew Estrada also goes around in the 3. Well, we made it 4 laps before the caution flag came out, our first of the night. And Apollo Hyde will lead them back to the caution flag, and trouble for that Nebraska Cornhuskers number 6 machine. And we'll review what happened here in just a couple of moments. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and get our ticker a little bit situated, as everybody, I believe, is going to stay off of the pit lane. We are going to have some takers, and we're going to see some split strategies. The majority of the people are going to stay out. Actually, we're going to have about split down the alleyway evenly. I have everybody coming down the pit lane, but real quick, we're going to go ahead and get our ticker nice and organized. You know, I was talking about this a little bit early on with everybody. It was like, you know what? I want to make sure that I've got everything in here, and unfortunately, we did not. So that's exactly what happened. I put Tate Dorsey's number in the wrong spot on GNL. But as everybody will come down the pit lane, we'll go ahead and take a look and see what happened with Tate Dorsey to bring out our first caution of the day. And of course, it was a multi-car incident by the looks of it. We'll take a look. I believe Estrada just coming up the racetrack, just tapping that 6 car around, and around goes Tate. And Andrew wasn't able to hold on to it as well, and just a simple spin for the 3. And it doesn't look like there's too much damage on that 6 automobile. He should theoretically be able to continue, but not the start that any of those drivers want in this race, Caleb.
Definitely a really tough break for those two. Talk about earlier on in the pre-race broadcast that especially at a track like this, loose is going to be fast, and Andrew Estrada might have got air into turn 3 a little bit too deep, maybe got a bit loose, had to chase it up the racetrack, and fortunately Tate Dorsey was right there above him, and 3 car just clipped the 6 car, and unfortunately Estrada couldn't hold on to it either. So yeah, really tough break for those two. Luckily, it doesn't look like the damage is too bad on either car, so should be able to continue and should be up to speed as well. So have to see what they can do here on the restart here, but it's definitely going to be a very interesting restart as we got split strategy up here towards the front of the field.
And we definitely did, as the top 6 cars stayed out. Apollo Hyde, first one, rather it's Dunlop first one on fresh rubber in that 74. But you had RJ Bishop and Ike Durbin. They're going to lead the field back to the green flag. Bishop will be the control car. And he toes the outside lane, and well, we've got some drivers we don't typically see at the front of the field, such as Bud Kerrang in his second race of the season in that Old Bay number 57 Ford Mustang. He'll be at the front end of the pack. Same thing with that 60 of Trek Togger. And of course, Connor Edwards will remain in that 4th spot. That's going to be a driver we're going to be keeping tabs on all evening long. And same thing with Ike Durbin as well as Tyler Stallhood in that RCA numero 6. Siete. I just did the 6-7 meme in Spanish. I'm gonna go jump off a cliff.
Ay caramba.
Well, 6 laps completed. We'll transition into lap number 7 of 67. It's everywhere. You can't escape it. It doesn't matter that it's mid-March in 2026. You can't escape it, Caleb. Green flag
Absolutely
back out
not.
of the air. Not the greatest of starts for Durbin, as RJ got a pretty good restart on the outside lane, and Stallhood is going to have the inside, not able to quite get a ledge on that 86 car. Going through the opening set of corners, and Apollo Hyde quickly making work with those 4 Mr. Feelgoods. Already jumping up to 5th as Kerrang. He did not get the best of starts on that outside lane. Again, only his 2nd ever race here in the Fuel Grand National Series. And he's going to track way up the racetrack. He's into the outside wall. And he's going to fall all the way back. Meanwhile, Apollo Hyde diving down to the inside, going through the tri-oval. And has already made her way up inside the podium. Again, she's got 4 lap fresher tires. We'll call it 5 lap fresher tires than everybody else, as Connor Edwards right on the back end of that 100 machine. And Edwards blipping in and out there for a brief moment in time, but while we do have a little bit of a chance here, we're going to go on board with Connor Edwards in that Bauer 02 machine. We're going to take you for a lap around the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. This 4th place car, blipping in and out there a little bit in that Bauer 02, and you're going to see Apollo Hyde back end stepping out, a little bit aero tight off of turn number 4, but no harm, no foul. You see just how flat this track is. Only 12 degrees of banking on this version of Las Vegas, and you know, and again, if they didn't really butcher this track. As Stallhood around off of turn number 2, right in front of William Gregory. And both those drivers are going to go around, and I believe that will bring out the caution. It will. So William Gregory in his Grand National Series debut gets caught up as Tyler Stallhood, who looks like has blown a right front tire. Sails around off of turn number 2, and the yellow flag is quickly back out for the 2nd time tonight.
Las Vegas can give it to the underdogs, and Las Vegas can take it away.
It definitely took it there, as Stallhood was running in that 7th spot, I believe. And he'll fall all the way down to 19th, and that right front tire flatter than Minnesota. And he's just trying to limp it all the way around. The pits were closed that last time by, so he's just doing his best to try to baby it around for the formerly sponsored by Baby Driver Subaru automobile. He's doing a solid job of limping it around, keeping it off the wall, but everybody is going to hit the pit lane, and that will set everybody on the same strategy. They're led down the pit lane. Ooh, a couple more drivers staying out.
More split strategy.
2 of the Warren Wentz racing cars staying out. Apollo Hyde in her pit stall. Putting on some
There
more
goes Tyler.
fresh Goodyear tires.
Get some freshies on that thing, Tyler. That right front is flatter than an RC Cola left out for 5 minutes.
RJ Bishop is going to take, Ike Durbin was going to take 2 tires, so an interesting strategy for him, as 4 cars are going to stay out with Taylor Stolworthy, Blake Warren, Grant Warren, and Bud Kerrang. 4 cars are going to roll the dice here a little bit later into this strategy, but everybody besides Durbin looks to be taking 4 fresh Goodyear tires, and they'll be out on their way, as we'll go ahead and take a look and see what happened. Even though we saw it live, what happened with Tyler Stolhood and William Gregory right as they were running for the 6th spot. And just based initially off, yes, Tyler got loose going through 2, and the back end just pretty much stepping all the way out. Nowhere for William Gregory to go. He's going to sail that Great Clips machine around, and both of them end up in the inside wall. Fortunately, moderate damage is on, so it doesn't look like they got a whole lot of damage in that deal, but not the situation you want to be, especially for those guys that were battling for spots inside the top 10. We'll quickly get another look at this before getting back to the green flag. And this was, it was almost a great save out of Tyler, but the back end just stepping out way, way, way too much, and nothing you could really do if you're either of those drivers, Caleb. It's just a situation you're just out of control.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of like there in the first accident. Stolhood just kind of got loose there on the inside, and like I said, almost a great save there. Kind of chased up the racetrack, but unfortunately that rear end was just like, see ya, and just completely stepped out from underneath the 7. And yeah, like you mentioned, Gregory, he was already kind of committed to the outside there, just had absolutely nowhere to go. So yeah, really tough break there for those two. But yeah, like you mentioned, moderate damage is on. So as far as the damage that these guys might have sustained in that accident, it should buff out pretty good. But going back to the restart here, it should be interesting once again, as again, split strategy under that caution definitely seems to be a pretty popular decision here today so far.
Well, it certainly is, as Grant Warren is going to be on that inside lane. Taylor Stolworthy will be the control car on the outside. Top 4 cars do not stay out. They have not pit just yet. Ike Durbin, the first car in line on any sort of tires. He's got 2 fresh tires, and everybody behind Ike has got 4. Mr. Feelgoods, I'm going to be watching this 48 car right off for the restart and seeing what he's going to do. Green flag back out, and already Andrew Estrada getting turned around right in front of the 7. And immediately the caution flag is thrown, and we didn't even get 100 feet. Bud Kerrang also spinning the tires.
Estrada.
And Estrada caught up in his second incident of the night, and we're already back under the caution flag.
Probably say it about every week at this point, but you know how the old saying goes.
Cautions breed cautions.
Cautions.
And you know what? Hey, we're in Sin City, USA, and these cautions getting a little bit sinful here.
Hey, there you go.
As Taylor Stolworthy will lead them back. And now it's 3 drivers that are on the same tires as they qualified with. Stolworthy is going to get a couple more laps led, and that's going to pay pretty big dividends in this championship battle. Well, looking at the group chat, looking at the chat right now, glad to see both Kenny Campos and Matt Haas in here in the chat. So we got a handful of people watching right now. We got 8 people. You know, for live chat, that's pretty solid, if I don't say so myself. Pit road is open, but the top 3 guys are going to stay out once again, so a little bit perplexing. But there was an absolutely a lot that went on that restart, and we'll go ahead and take a look at what happened here. And there was really, that all got started when Bud Kerrang just spun the tires right on the initial start, and it just created a pretty big lockup from there on out. We'll take a look at the replay. Again, you're on relatively worn-out tires. You got RJ Bishop, who's the first car in line with 4 tires behind you. He pretty much just spins it out, and Andrew Estrada at the top end of the screen had the exact same situation. The only difference was that Tyler Stolhood was right in the middle of the lane. and there was nothing that we could really do. We'll get another look at it here, following with Estrada's POV. Right as the green flag fell, I think he might have got a little help from Crystal Bennett. I don't know. How would you really weigh in on that, Caleb?
Honestly, I'd say that's just kind of the results of a stack up there. It looks like I think I jammed up a little bit there behind the 97 of Scazzotto, who didn't really go there on that restart. And I think maybe Estrada might have gotten to the back of the 31 and kind of sent them sideways. And yeah, Crystal Bennett, Tyler Stallhood pretty much just had absolutely nowhere to go. But a pretty wild restart. Had a lot of checkups there after Bud Kerrang almost lost it there in the 57. Luckily, he was able to hold on to it, but unfortunately, the reaction caused by that, unfortunately, resulted in something else going wrong.
Well, at the choose cone, we got a couple of drivers on some split strategy. RJ Bishop and Emmy Schizzotto. They'll head down the pit lane. A little bit of a late pit stop for the two of them, as just trying to put on, get as much of a tire advantage as you can. Everybody just trying to jump on top of one another, but now there were three, like we said, that stayed out after that incident. Blake Warren, at least also in the chat here as well, as we're focusing on his car. That beautiful Kobe Bryant throwback. We alluded to it a little bit earlier in the broadcast. Can't believe it's already been 6 years and a couple months and change since Kobe Bryant died. Again, COVID was an absolute wormhole. In fact, today's the sixth anniversary of the NBA and the NHL shutting down. It's just weird how much of a time warp COVID is. COVID was really, Caleb, and it's just nothing else to really say about it, except it's really, really weird.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the time I really got into NR offline and everything. So, I mean, arguably, if that doesn't happen, I might not even be sitting here right now. So, it's kind of amazing how the butterfly effect can work sometimes. But definitely glad that butterfly effect did go down. And I am here right now alongside you, calling what has been a fun race here so far from Las Vegas, as we are back green once again.
Yeah, COVID definitely giveth and taketh, because that's where I really got my starting on NR as well, as Grant Warren is just going to be eaten alive by these guys on fresher tires. We got one car on the wall. Look at Vincenzo Focusato dive bombing his way from the top to the bottom, 3 wide, as Tate Dorsey trying to take the long way around. Vincenzo Focusato on the low side, able to gather up that Momo Mazda, as he and Dorsey fighting for that 8th spot right off of the restart. Drew Fast making his acquaintance as well with all these drivers. All 19 cars still in the race for the time being. And right now it's a 3-way battle for the race lead between Hyde, Stolworthy, and Ike Durbin. Durbin going back to the high side. Same thing with Apollo and Apollo Hyde looking for the slide job onto Taylor Stolworthy. Remember, Stolworthy is on those 18, 19 lap old tires. And they're going to be passed for that top spot, as the pole sitter Apollo Hyde back out in front, looking for that 4th win of the year. 3rd win of the year, my apologies.
Starting to pull away from the one at Taylor Stolworthy, trying to hold on those older tires, but right now has a mirror full of the 86 of Ike Durbin. You also got Grant Warren holding strong right now. How about William Gregory? He's got involved in that accident with Tyler Stallhood just a couple cautions ago. Now up here inside the top 5. And LaPrade there right in tow, as well as Gregory trying to go around the outside of the 33 of Warren. Warren slipping up the track just a little bit. Stolworthy way up the track in that one machine, and Durbin to the inside here for the 2nd position. Got a great battle going on here inside of the top 5, and I'm sure Apollo Hyde's definitely loving this, because gives her the opportunity to pull away with that race lead, but they continue to go at it. Stolworthy loose again.
Oh, he's into the wall, and around goes Dunn. Or did he save it? No, he didn't. Dunn LaPrade around in the grass, and that might be a multi. He definitely got punted down. Well, I don't know if there was any contact. Ooh, Emmy Schizzotto nearly running, nearly LePage in that 74. I could have swore that there was contact, but it doesn't look like that will count as a multi, and that's a gut punch for Don LaPrade, who was running in that third position at the time. And he's going to fall all the way to the back, and he's going to need a caution to come out here shortly to get back in the dance, because that is so unfortunate for him.
Definitely tough break there for Don LaPrade. I think he did have a little bit of help there from the 31 of William Gregory coming down the track after, I guess, trying to avoid the one of Taylor Stolworthy, who got into the outside wall and is plummeting through the field in that one car. I think the tires are absolutely screaming out for help at this point on that one car. But, yeah, really tough break there for Don LaPrade. Have to see if he can get a caution to maybe get back in this thing, but definitely going to be on the short end of the stick now, back here in 18th, and those tires are probably not holding up the best, not 74 as well after going around like that.
Definitely is, as he's back there with Connor Edwards, who has dropped back a little bit. But you go back up here to William Gregory. You know, his pretty good, you know, he's only run one Grand National race so far. That came all the way back in season number 5. So it's been a little bit of time here for William Gregory since he's strapped back in the rocket ship. But, oh, some big wiggles there for Apollo Hyde. And how about the Warren brothers, Grant and Blake, nose to tail? You know, for all the tire issues that we've seen with that one of Stolworthy, these guys have been really weathering the storm. You know, that these guys, especially Blake, loves to have a very loose setup, especially at a flat oval like this. And those two doing a little bit of shake and baking. Of course, Gregory trying to bomb it down to the inside. Not going to quite have the ledge. He might have the inside lane going through 3 and 4 here shortly. But the Warren brothers right now running really, really well. And this has been a pretty good weekend and a pretty good night so far for the entire Warren Wentz Racing Development Program. You know, Corbin Wentz couldn't be here tonight, but I'm sure he's watching his guys, both his main teammate, as well as R.J. Bishop, who's back here as well, but also his development drivers of Connor Edwards as well as Grant Warren. Those guys have been pretty solid so far, as Grant's still holding up that 12 machine as Don LaPrade coming down the pit lane, and it looks like he'll be put down a lap, potentially 2. He's going to slide up in front of Apollo, and Apollo is just going to do the crossover back down to the inside, and Dunn will just get the heck out of the way, and Apollo will abide back down to the inside. Ooh, that back end stepping out a little bit on that 100 car. And she's going to back off. Of course, Dunn has got much fresher rubber than everybody else, especially Blake and Grant. It's R.J. Bishop down to the inside of that 33. And you know NR Offline is something special when all 3 Warren Wentz racing cars are running different paint schemes and number fonts, and tires might be starting to go away from Grant. That 33 car very, very loose, and he almost spun the thing all the way out to Arizona. Crystal Bennett with an aggressive maneuver underneath Vin Vocasado, and Vin is going to hold off that 84 car. That's the battle for 6th currently. And unlike we've seen in past races, you go back to that race at Hanford, you know, this has been a track where you're not completely opening up the throttle, and you're keeping it full, like you're keeping the throttle open the entire time, as Blake Warren way up the track right into the 86. Don LaPrade with a crossover, and that 12 car got tight at the worst possible time. Oh, we're going to get 4 wide for second here at Vegas. We might. Oh, contact up the track goes Blake. And those tires are also going away heavily up into the 37. Hard into the wall goes the 12. He's into the wall once again. Same thing with Grant.
Oh, man.
And both Warren Wentz Racing Fords hard into the wall. And losing a ton of time was that Arizona Ice T33 car. Yeah, the rubber absolutely gone off of both of those cars. Again, we're on lap 31, and they have not made a pit stop yet in this race. Actually, they've made one. They've made one pit stop, but everybody else screaming past them, and that could have been very dangerous. I knew the second I saw that 12 car go down to the inside, he was not turning going through turn number 1, and Ike Durbin just having a slam on the brakes. Crystal Bennett nearly bugging out in the 84, and we know that she's had some technical difficulties with her setup. So, running pretty well right now. And a pretty good run for all 4 of the Millennium Autosport cars currently. Andrew Estrada back in 13th, the lowest of the quartet. Tyler Stolhood doing a little agricultural work through the grass, and he's able to hold on. Nice save off of turn number 4. Nickel for every time we talk about Tyler Stolhood having a nice save. Not quite the pass in the grass, but I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Russian judge probably docking him a couple of points there, as they always do. And this has become a fantastic battle for this race lead. Hyde has led the last 15 laps of this race. Excuse me, the last 10 laps of this race. It's RJ Bishop back in that second spot. And now we're starting to see these guys get into a pretty good groove, as this time by will be the halfway point through the Las Vegas 100. And Apollo Hyde will lead it right at halfway. RJ Bishop and William Gregory, your podium. Vincenzo Focusato, Ike Durbin, the top 5. And rounding out the top 6 is Crystal Bennett. Bud Kerrang down the pit lane. He is currently 1 lap down as the last scoring loop. Blake Warren has been able to catch that car, and he will fall down to 7th. 8th is going to be Drew Fast. 9th, Rich Roy. And falling down to 10th was Grant Warren. 11th, Trek Togger. 12th, Emmy Schizzato. 13th is going to be Andrew Estrada. 14th, Tyler Stolhood. Top 15 rounded out by Tate Dorsey. Taylor Stolworthy is going to be 16th, and Connor Edwards is going to be 17th, although there they are down the pit lane. Stolworthy coming down, and he blew a right front tire, so immediately coming down the pit lane, and the trouble continuing for that one machine as he will easily go down a lap. And Connor Edwards.
Of trouble, Estrada
around on the front straightaway, and Dunlap just able to get around him. Fortunately, not a Ben Snyder incident. If you know, you know. But Estrada and his struggles that he has had so far today, continuing a self-spin off of turn number 4. And he might have a tire around. He's going to go around to the 3. Is anybody else around him? Blake Warren also spinning in turn number 1. Just nudges that 12 car into the wall. And it looks like Estrada does have a right front tire down. Trek Togger some evasive maneuvers in that Camaro.
Warren's got a tire down as well.
Blake Warren also with a right front tire. So we might see these guys hit the pit lane here shortly, as the tire wear is going to really mean a lot. Again, you look at what these guys were really talking about in the setup chat. And you really got to watch your right rear tire, which has really been the trouble spot in practice for a lot of these guys. But that right front, that is what, the 4th or 5th right front that we've seen blown out here tonight, Caleb?
You'd think this is Phoenix or something like that.
Estrada limping that Martini 3 machine back to the pit lane. Same thing for Blake Warren. Both of them will go down multiple laps. Ooh, Fast and Roy. A little close for comfort there for Rich Roy. His tires might be gone as well. Drew Fast pounding the outside wall a tad. But as we're past the halfway point, these guys are going to have to come down the pit lane eventually later on in the race. Dunlap, even though he has had some struggles in this race, got the fastest lap of the night so far at 31.042. As we've reached 28 laps remaining in tonight's race in Apollo Hyde through the stormy seas of central Pennsylvania. Still trucking on. Kerrang heading back down the pit lane to make some more adjustments in that Old Bay 57. He's currently serving a black flag for speeding on pit lane, I believe. And this battle for second, Caleb, is really heated up between Bishop and Gregory. as these two dueling it out, and that's going to bring Vincenzo Focusato back into the fray to make it a three-way battle for this penultimate spot. Ike Durbin with Connor Edwards trying to get a lap back. He's currently 3 laps down in the 0-2, so he's going to have a pretty tough row to hoe to get back in the battle. I know Dunn is just looking to catch a caution. It's only 1 lap down, and once you get back on the lead lap, and he might get it here, Emi Scusato around. Is that the caution? It is. Yellow flag is out for the 4th time tonight as Emi Scusato, another right front tire. In fact, it looks like the left front tire blew on that 97. And then ask and you shall receive, and I know Dunn is probably thanking his lucky stars that I asked for it. And the question whether or not we're going to have green flag pit stops is going to be a moot point, as Apollo Hyde will see that about a second lead over RJ Bishop dissipate. And a tough break for Remy. She was running in that 10th position at the time, looking for a solid top 10 run for the road course specialist. And that left front just trying to survive all the way around, trying to limp that 97, not able to get it around that time by. So she'll have to limp around and try again. But with 25 laps to go, you got to think, Caleb, this is absolutely going to be the money stop. Unless we get a late race caution, I think this will likely be the last pit stop these guys make, which, again, is very late in the window. These guys can do about 32, 34 laps. But Apollo Hyde is going to lead these drivers down the pit lane for what could be the final time. It's a lot of drivers, including Dunn Laprade off of the lead lap. He's going to take the wave around. But here we go. See what Hyde will do in that number 100 machine, and will anybody roll the dice? I don't think anybody will. Jack drops first for the 48, but it will be Apollo Hyde winning the race off of the pit lane. Vin Focusato is just going to take that 3rd spot away from William Gregory. And everybody else will proceed back down the pit area. So we'll take the choose cone next time by. We'll take a look at what happened to put us under the caution flag for the 4th time this evening, as Emi Scusato going around in turn number 2, which has been relative calamity corner, I think, way up the racetrack. Well, Trek Talker was all the way on the outside wall. Oh, just nowhere to go for Scusato. And that left front tire blowing at the worst possible time. And, I don't know if that technically warranted a multi, but it not exactly the best case scenario for her. But before we go ahead and get back going, we'll take a quick look and see what happened with Dunn Laprade earlier on that initially put him a lap down. And looking back at this battle, you got William Gregory back down low. That absolutely should have been a multi. And I'm very surprised it wasn't called, as Laprade was just spinning all by himself. I'm very surprised that wasn't a multi. We'll pick Tyler Stallhood's brain after the fact. I don't know. That's muy interesante, Caleb.
See.
But it'll be 21 laps to go. Once these guys will cycle back around, we got 2 cars that have taken the wave around. I believe will be on the tail end of the lead lap, but guess who's back on the lead lap? Dunn Laprade. And he's going to have to start all the way from the rear end of the field. But the good news is we got the double file restarts for as long as we need to. Or unless, poop hits the fan. Of course, we hope it doesn't. Warren and Kerrang will get an additional lap back for both of those drivers. Bud Kerrang currently 5 laps down, and here we go. Feel like that outside lane has definitely been the way to go, Caleb. As then that's where Apollo Hyde is going to jump up to. But RJ Bishop has been really, really solid on these restarts too. I would not count him out whatsoever.
Absolutely. RJ Bishop has had a fantastic night here so far from Las Vegas. He was pretty much holding with the 100 of Apollo Hyde pretty much throughout that entire green flag run. Did not let Hyde get too far out. But yeah, RJ Bishop definitely going to be one to watch out for once we get into the closing stages of this race. And so definitely have a lot of other contenders to watch out for. William Gregory has looked really, really strong in that 31. He's still got Focusado up here. And he might be restarting from the back, but still can never count out that 74 at Dunlop. Be interesting to see what he can do here on this restart.
Well, he's going to be looking for 2 wins in a row from last week's winner at Hanford. But like we said, he's going to be starting from all the way deep in the field back in 14th. But you know what? We've seen stranger things before. We've seen the last to first challenge work into fruition. We saw Apollo Hyde spin around twice last week at Hanford and still battling back within a couple tenths of a second to try to get that win over Dunlop, just coming up a little bit short at the end. But here we go. Back through the gears we go. Hyde, Bishop, Focusado, Gregory, and Bennett, your top 5. Green flag back out of the air, and a great restart for RJ Bishop. Kerrang very slow.
Bishop's clear.
And RJ Bishop with a good leg out front, but here comes that 100 machine. Hyde, just what a run she got on the outside lane out of turn number 2. Trying to keep that car right on the top side of the steam, looking for the crossover there out of turn number 4. Got that crossover, got that inside lane, and what can Bishop now do on the outside? Is he going to be looking for the crossover? And Gregory just biding his time, watching these two battle it out, but Apollo Hyde back out front in the 100. We got 3 wide in the back, Tate Dorsey and our Rich Roy. Nearly getting into one another. And look who's cutting his way through the field. That Schaefer Group 74 machine already up into that 8th spot is Dunlop, and he's got plenty of time to work with. 19 laps to go from Sin City, USA. And what can RJ Bishop try to do to get away back around that 100, and is it going to be enough time for Leprod to catch back up? I think Leprod's definitely going to need another caution to come out in order to probably fight for this race lead, but RJ is not done yet. Here he comes down to the inside of that 100. He's going to say, you know what, you want the outside lane, you can have it. I'm going to go back down to the inside. Can he hold on to it? Can he get the slide job to work? Up the track a little bit. There he goes. Slide job through turn 1 and 2, and he's got the race lead back.
Able to control the run there from the 100. Apollo Hyde and Bishop clear as we head into turns 3 and 4. Here comes the 31 of William Gregory with a big send here through 3 and 4. That was a great corner there from the 31, and now he's all over the back bumper of the 100 of Hyde.
Yeah, Hyde got arrow tight through 1 and 2 that last lap, and I think that's really hurt her performance and her momentum in that 100. As you got that 31. We're looking really strong right now for William Gregory. Meanwhile, Leprod now up to 7th. And he's now up to, no, he's still in that 7th. Actually, no, he's up to 6th right now. And he's continuing to pick off these guys 1 car at a time. That last time by, he was a 2.5 seconds back off. He's going to get around Ike Durbin. And do not count out that 74. He is just a rocket man right now in that baby blue and white Camaro. But RJ Bishop trying to get Warren Wentz Racing their first win as an organization, and Apollo Hyde still just trying to hold on in this championship lead. Because again, you go to the championship standings right now. Hyde has got a 75-point gap on Vincenzo Focusado. And you know, she's got 3 poles on the season, 2 wins. And she's looking pretty strong right now. Meanwhile, LaPrade up to fourth. We got one car in the inside
Kerrang.
grass. That's Kerrang, who's around once again. And he is limping that car all the way around. A tough evening for that Old Bay 57.
Bishop got really wide off of 4. Here comes Hyde.
Bishop didn't get the great run off of the corner that he wanted. Apollo trying to strike. She's got the inside lane. Bishop once again a little bit wide, and here we go. Take number 2 of this battle. Side by side down the back straightaway, and Will Gregory waiting for either of these drivers to make any sort of mistake. RJ is going to pound hard on the outside lane. He's going to get a pretty good run, especially with that drafting help from the 31.
And here's Gregory.
Gregory making this a 3-car battle for the race lead. Why not make it a 4-car battle with Dunn LaPrade? Restarted back in 14th. He's all the way back up to 4th. And he is not done yet. A little tight through the corner, but he'll transition up to the outside. 4 cars under a blanket here down the back straightaway. It's still anybody's race. Hyde, Bishop, LaPrade, and Gregory. What a battle we got going for the race lead as Kerrang in front of these race leaders. What a move out of LaPrade. What a dive down to the inside. 3 wide for the race lead at Vegas. Can he make the pass stick going into turn number 1? He can for the time being, as Dunn LaPrade, the last to first challenge completed for the time being. We still got 11 and a half laps to go in Vegas, but what a drive for Dunn. And the caution flag is out.
Oh, caution!
Estrada and Stolhood around in turn number 2.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my goodness. Well, what was shaping up to be a fantastic battle at the end there. It's going to bring out our 5th caution of the night. What a drive. We were telling you guys, do not count out that 74. Dunn LaPrade is driven from the back to the front. And he has been just a man on a mission. And now the $1 million question is, do we see these guys come down the pit lane? You've gotta.
This is going to be interesting. See if anybody does maybe try and roll the dice here, stay out.
I don't think anybody is.
Doesn't look like it.
Ooh.
Connor Edwards going to take the wave around.
What?
Actually,
no, Trek Togger.
Togger's going to roll the
who's
dice.
on the lead lap. Connor Edwards as well as Taylor Stolworthy, they're taking the wave around. That is a very, very lonely Suburban Cowgirl Steakhouse Camaro out front, Caleb. And I get it if this was maybe a green-white checker. And Apollo Hyde, she overshot her pit stall.
Uh-oh.
We just caught the tail end of that. 2 tires going on for RJ Bishop.
Oh,
4 tires going on for Dunn LaPrade. He's likely going to come out 3rd. Oh, I'm liking this call out of Dunn. And Hyde makes one mistake on the pit area, and that's going to cost her. I thought Will Gregory beat her out of the pit lane, but oh my lord. What a race this has been. And what a finish we're going to have here, Caleb. Las Vegas never disappoints. And it's certainly not disappointing here tonight.
Absolutely not. This is still shaping up to be a fantastic finish here from Las Vegas. It's been a fun race all night long. We see some fantastic racing. Just look at that lead battle we just had coming to the caution. That was absolutely incredible. And now shaping up for about a 10 or so lap run, and Trek Togger and RJ Bishop going to come into the pits this time around.
So we take a look at what happened. Estrada just getting into the rear end of the 7 car. No harm, no foul, but I'll bring out the caution flag for the 5th time tonight. I want to go back to that dive bomb pass that Dunn LaPrade did a handful of laps ago. I genuinely cannot believe that he pulled that off. You know, we'll watch again. Watch this 74. He had a lane right in front of Will Gregory. And he bombs it down to the inside, made it stick. And oh my goodness, we are in for one heck of a show. Like you said, Togger coming down the pit lane. Same thing with RJ Bishop. That's going to be a critical mistake for RJ because he realized everybody behind me took 4 tires. I took 2. I should have just put 4 tires on, and that might be the end of his run unless he's able to cut his way through the field. And that's an unfortunate mistake for him. That's an unfortunate mistake for the 100 of Hyde as well. I definitely think that this is Dunlaprod's race to lose.
Definitely seems like it, especially with how he was cutting up the field there throughout that run. And that was, like you said, that was an absolute beautiful, sensational pass that he made there for the race lead. And as far as I know, he's probably not going to look back here on this restart. That 74 has been lights out ever since that run. And I don't know. We'll have to see what ends up happening, though. We're getting into the late stages of this race. Looks like we're going to restart potentially with 7 laps to go. So the patience at this point is going to be virtually zero. The aggression is going to be more than probably Mother Bear defending her cubs. So we'll have to see what ends up shaking out. We'll have to see if we maybe get another caution here before we do get to the point of no return. But boy, oh boy, this is shaping up to be an exciting finish to what has been a crazy race here from Sin City.
Las Vegas always puts on a show, and this diamond in the desert putting on a show for us here tonight. So here's the drop. Dunlaprod, first car on 4 tires. He's going to be the control car. He won the race off the pit lane. Apollo Hyde, who despite missing her pit box and coming out, I thought she beat Will Gregory off the pit lane, but she did not. She's going to restart on the outside lane. That's been her bread and butter all night long. Vincenzo Focusato and Will Gregory are in row 2. How about Emmy Schizzato coming back after a flat tire and being 1 lap down? She's back in the fray in 6th. And how about Rich Roy with a top 10 good run going for him right now? Same thing with Crystal Bennett in that 84. It'll be 7 laps to go. Once we take the green flag, the point of no return in 2 laps' time. And after that, it's officially all bets off of the table. Here we go. Green flag in the air. What a jump for Dunlaprod on the inside as Focusato did not get going whatsoever. And here comes the land rush. Drew Fast trying to make it 3 wide.
Look at Crystal Bennett.
Bennett in the 84, tracking up the outside. Oh, Rich Roy, he's bouncing off the wall, a little bit out of control, a little jam up in the back. They remain straight for the time being, out of sight, out of mind.
Oh, look at Apollo through 3 and 4, closing right up to the back of that 74.
And Apollo Hyde not quite done yet, and Emmy Schizzato in that 3rd spot. A podium finish here tonight would be absolutely monumental. But right now, by the looks of it, it looks like we might have a match race for this race win. Got half a lap to go for the caution to come back out before that'll be curtains. RJ Bishop deep in the field in the 48. Good battle for 3rd brewing right now, but up front, it's Laprod versus Hyde, a battle we've seen so many times in the past. 5, count 'em, 5 laps to go. That's the point of no return. You go into the grandstands, you go into the catch fence. No matter, we're green until the end, baby, and it is going to be a great green flag battle, Caleb.
Absolutely. Apollo still hanging on the back bumper of that 74 of Laprod. Like you mentioned, we're inside the point of no return now. All chips are down, all bets are in, and Hyde is trying everything she can to close into that 74 of Laprod. That was a good run there through turns 3 and 4. Kind of looking like just how it was last week, but Apollo definitely has a really good shot at this one, and she stays right on the back bumper of that 74. Like you were mentioning, we still got a battle here for the podium position. How about Schizzato trying to hold on in that 97, but has a mirror full of the 31 of William Gregory. As here comes Apollo through 3 and 4, trying to maybe diamond the corner a bit, looking for a run here as we come down the front straightaway. It takes 3 to go here from Las Vegas.
3 laps remain. Drew Fast into the outside wall. We remain green, out of sight and out of mind.
Go for 3rd.
Still, William Gregory trying to get a podium finish in his first race since season number 5. He might get that third spot here as up the racetrack goes Schizotto. Like Durbin with a great save. He's going to lose it on track in terms of track position, but a fantastic save out of that 86 car. Meanwhile, at the front, sticks high in the air. 2 laps remain. It's all going to come down to these final 3 miles, and Laprade running his fastest lap that last time around. Laprade that last time by 0.2 of a second faster than Apollo, or a 1/10 of a second faster than Apollo Hyde. What can Apollo do at one of her best racetracks, trying to take down Dunn Laprade, who has been through a ton of adversity here tonight? Here they come off of turn number 4. White flag in the air. 1 lap remaining, the bell lap at Las Vegas. Dunn Laprade will lead them back. Will Gregory has taken third. It's a good third battle for the that third spot between the 31 and the 37. Down the back straightaway we go for the final time. Dunn Laprade with about a car length and a half lead over that Orange Juice 100% car. Gregory and Focusato still side by side, but off of turn number 4, the spin and win part 2 as Dunn Laprade in the 74 Camaro takes the octane checkered flag. He wins here at Las Vegas. A close battle for third. William Gregory will get that final podium spot in his return, and they crash behind him.
Oof. Oh my goodness.
Second consecutive week we've had a spin and win victory. I believe Laprade spun out last week.
I believe you're right, yeah.
Irregardlessly, it's second win in a row as, well, we got dominoes on the cooldown lap. We got bumper cars. We always do. we always have fun here in the Fuel Racing League as Dunn Laprade, second win of the season, second in a row, as he wins the Las Vegas 100. Got the win last week at Hanford. And he's going to burn it down right on the Las Vegas front straightaway. Dunn Laprade, your winner of the Las Vegas 100. You want to know the ironic part, Caleb? We weren't even sure if Dunn was going to be in this race. A late addition right at the end of practice. And he came back from being a lap down, spun out midway through the race. Comes back, got that quick caution right at the end. He is your winner here in Las Vegas, Sin City, USA. Dunn Laprade gets the job done. Like we said, Las Vegas, it never disappoints. And it certainly didn't disappoint once again tonight.
Absolutely not. That was a fun race. Pretty much from start to finish. Like I said, had some great battles and really great racing overall as well. And definitely have to give a lot of credit there to the 74 of Dunn Laprade for cutting his way through the field on that last run. And like you said, overcoming adversity earlier on in the race. Like you mentioned, he was a lap down at one point, got back on the lead lap from stretching it out when on that green flag run, got a caution at the perfect time, got back on the lead lap, and absolutely made the most of that opportunity. And yeah, he made some fantastic moves. That one that he made on the front stretch, dipping down to the apron there, going 3 wide for the lead, that's probably going to live in my head rent-free for the next little while. But huge shout out there to the 74 of Dunn Laprade. Like we were talking about earlier on in the race, you can throw everything, even the kitchen sink, at this guy, and you still cannot count him out.
You definitely cannot, as we get ready for our post-race interviews. But that pass, you know, you go back, we have seen, and the funniest thing about that is not the first time we have seen the patented Dunn dive. And you know, the dive bomb Dunn, you know, that might be his new nickname for the amount of times we have seen him pull off that move. And it absolutely worked out in spades once again here tonight. Didn't have to really pull off the dive bomb last week at Hanford, but tonight, battling back from being a lap down at one point, after spinning out with a caution flag not coming out. He is your race winner. We knew we were going to have to watch out for him. But we'll go ahead. We'll talk with him. We'll talk with Apollo Hyde. We'll talk with William Gregory. Glad to see him back here in the series in that 31 machine. We'll talk with him here in just a couple of moments, but we'll get the post-race interviews ready here. After a fantastic Las Vegas 100 here for race number 5 of season number 8 here for the Fuel Racing League. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be back in just a jiffy.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me double shot of time.
An incredible race at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway has ended once again, and Dunlop ending up victorious in Gatorade Victory Lane for the Las Vegas 100 here on the North American Sim Racing Network's coverage of the Fuel Grand National Series, race number 5 of season number 8. Trey Wright and Caleb Rose on the call, and we'll talk with our podium finishers. First and foremost, we weren't able to get William Gregory on, but want to give him a really big shout out for finishing in third in that number 31 car. Want to give him his flowers here on the broadcast. Coming back for the first time since season number 5 and able to put that car on the bottom podium step, but still a podium nonetheless. So wanted to give him a very, very big shout out in that 31. But now,
all the way to the back.
we'll bring in the number 100, driver the number 100 Orange Juice Subaru of Apollo Hyde. You got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth?
I do.
Well, that was an absolute banger of a race that you guys put on once again. But going into this race, we've said it so many times, and we cannot give this track enough flowers. Las Vegas always puts on a great show. It's always one of your favorite tracks. It's always one of the tracks that you're the most successful at. But what really separates Las Vegas from all the other tracks that we really go to, in terms of just how great of a show it really puts on?
Yeah, of course. So Las Vegas is really the underrated gem of NR2003. Races very similarly to the Michigan International Speedway, and Michigan always puts on great racing in NR as well. But this is basically the mile-and-a-half version of Michigan. You have 2 or really 3 lanes of usable racetrack at this track, and it is wide as hell. It is fast as hell. There's not a ton of tire wear. Like, you can't just gun it and expect to make it all the way to the end on tires. But there's not so much tire wear that it ends up being like in Atlanta or Darlington, where you're constantly trying to tiptoe your way around the track. So it's just a perfect balance of really fast track, really wide, multiple lanes, and draft is good enough that people are able to suck up to the back of other drivers, and it just creates one of the most competitive environments. I love racing on this track, and I wish more people would do it.
Yeah, and this track always just a blast to race on. We've had 3 different broadcasts here at Las Vegas, 2 Grand National and 1 Sportsman, and all of them have just been absolutely picture perfect. But you dominated the race here tonight, leading 35 of the 67 laps. But you absolutely had your work cut out for you with everybody, with a lot of really good drivers in this pack. Of course, we had Dunlop Prod, who was doing the last of first challenge. He ended up completing that. But also guys like William Gregory and RJ Bishop were strong at the front as well. What can you really say about those guys, especially for Gregory, who came back after a 3-season hiatus, if I believe?
Yeah, so yeah, another thing about Las Vegas is that you really see a lot of competition, not just from the better drivers in the game like Don or RJ or William, but you'll also see people come up here, and I should include Vincenzo in there as well. But you'll also see people like Ike had a fantastic race. Blake Warren usually shows up and does very well at this track. Crystal had her first fantastic race in a while. Rich Roy had a really good race. Emmy was up there quite a bit there at the end. It looked like she was going to finish third, but looks like that she pushed maybe a little bit too hard on the final run. So yeah, like this is just a track that is really big equalizer between the top and the mid pack, and you get to see a very competitive environment.
We definitely did here tonight, and there was, like you said, a lot of competition. This is a very relatively even track. Of course, the more the runs went on, the more we saw guys really go to the front. But like you said, Blake Warren, he's also always really strong here. Grant Warren, he was running really well. We saw a lot of guys. Like you said, Crystal Bennett, she had a top 5 run in the 84. Emmy Schizzato, Drew Fast a little bit here and there. But ultimately, it really came down at the end of that 2-car battle between you and Dunlop Rod, And what do you think you really could have done a little bit differently on that final restart with the 74? And what do you
Yeah.
think you were a little bit lacking?
Yeah, there's really not much that I could have done differently. Honestly, it was just going to be who took the lead coming off of final corner. And honestly, arrow push really came to our disadvantage. Our car was. We need to figure out what the correct adjustments are to make on our car on these final short runs. Because this is definitely the biggest weakness of this race team is that we still need to figure that part of our racecraft out. Obviously, on the long runs, like that, our car was a rocket ship, and I'm still happy about that. But I think we really need to look at short run pace here and see what we can do on the shorter sprint runs to end the race, because it always seems like we just come up a little bit short when these short runs come out. So that's just some R&D that our team is going to have to deal with. And we'll just see how that goes. Next week, we're going to a short track, so that's going to be interesting, and we'll see what we can bring to the package there.
Yeah, that Daytona back straightaway track is going to be a very big wild card. I think it's going to be a very big challenge for a lot of these drivers, especially a lot of these newer guys that aren't used to racing on a track that's literally has zero banking. It's Bowman Gray, but kind of a little bit bigger. But I think that's going to be a pretty big curveball for a lot of these guys. And I know Caleb and I can't wait for next week at Daytona. But Caleb, you got anything for our runner-up finisher here tonight?
I definitely have to say that was quite the race here from Las Vegas. You all put on an absolute banger of a show, and definitely have to say you had a fantastic run here tonight. Definitely had a strong car throughout the entirety of the race. But think there was anything different you could have done there with that charge from Dunlap, or do you think that feeling pretty good about that second place?
Yeah, there's really nothing. I really don't think that there's anything else I could have done on the racetrack. It's going to be stuff that we have to work on off the racetrack.
Yeah, still, regardless of the fact, every time you and Dunst go at it, it's always just absolute cinema. So, hey, fantastic stuff, and good luck next time out as we head to the Daytona backstretch. That's going to be quite the interesting one, to say the least.
Definitely. I can't wait for it.
We can't wait for it either. Next Wednesday night, we'll plug it a little bit here later on, right as we get to the end. But Apollo, you know the drill. We'll give you the floor to thank any sponsors you got. If there's anybody here on the NASRN airwaves, once again, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so I do have a couple of shout outs. One to my sponsor here, Fruit Bat Factory, and their wonderful game 100% orange juice. They actually just released a new DLC pack out this week, along with updating a couple of the old characters' super animations. So if you ever want to come out and check out 100% orange juice, it's only like $6 on Steam. It's a super fun game. And the community is really awesome. So it's, in general, the community is really awesome. They've got a Discord server that you can join in. The developers are really interactive with the people there. It's just a great game to download. I can't recommend that enough. And the second shout out that I have is that one of my Oshi's Pawn Ranger, she actually just released a CD, a single called Neketsu Idol Hour that just went out on release today. So if you want to check out Pawn Ranger, go buy her CD. I haven't listened to the song yet, but I'm sure it's a banger. Every single that they've come out with has been a banger. I don't see how this can be anything different.
We'll definitely have to check that out, and I know they'll appreciate you giving them the plug. And we absolutely look forward to whatever chaos we'll see at the Daytona backstretch UNOH Battle on the Beach course next week. But Apollo, we always appreciate you coming in here after your many podium finishes. And we'll see you next week down at the World Center of Racing on the back straightaway.
We'll see you on the back straight.
User was moved out of your
That was
channel.
Apollo High, driver of the number 100 orange juice automobile, runner-up finisher in the Las Vegas 100. But now to bring in the man of the hour, driver of the number 74, the Schaefer Group Chevrolet Camaro, Mr. Dunlap. You got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth?
Yes, I do.
Well, we weren't even sure if you were going to be in the server until you popped in right at the end of practice. You came, you saw, you came back, and you conquered. First and foremost, congratulations on getting your second consecutive win here in Fuel Grand National.
Yeah, I mean, I was dealing with some issues earlier, so that's why I didn't really pop in here until the very last minute. Uh, yeah, I mean, I had a, I got a great setup that's really works pretty well in the short runs and the long runs as well. I think more so the long runs. Yeah, it was just right out of breath a little bit, just trying to keep myself composed in those final, what was it, 20 laps or so, trying to make my way up through the field. After getting spun out, that you know, not Will's fault or anybody, just an unfortunate situation. But needless to say, I was pretty pissed off about it, to say the least. So I was like, I had a feeling for a while there that there wasn't going to be a yellow since we had that long green flag run, and I thought I was going to be dude right there. But luckily that caution came out, and was able to get back in the lead lap, charge my way through the field. Uh, yeah, and I wasn't gonna, I was gonna take no prisoners. I was just gonna go for it and hope it sticks. And, if my tires blow out, so be it. And I saw that they were battling up front there, and then yeah, things happened, and wasn't expecting it, but yeah, things happened, and got up to the lead, and yeah, I guess I won this race.
Well, let's go back to how you got the race lead. If you've really earned that moniker of dive bomb done, especially over these last couple of weeks, as we go back to that bonsai dive bomb coming around to 12 laps to go. Take us through what was going through your mind as you saw a little bit of a gap right underneath that 31, saw some daylight, and just walk us through from that point.
Well, I mean, I got up the outside of 31 going into 3 and 4, and I saw that RJ and Apollo were battling for the lead. So I was just going to try to buy my time and just, hope that um, one of them, gets tired, it gets loose or whatever. Then I would have the momentum. Then I saw they were like a little bit tight, and you're getting, kind of really tight out of turn 4 by the looks of it. And then I had this run on the outside from the uh, I was thinking about taking it outside, but I saw there was like just enough of a gap on the inside of Apollo that whichever pronounce, I apologize if I butchered, but they left the inside lane open. So I was like, if I get this run, if I'm it's just that split second decision that I made. I mean, I wasn't gonna, it was now or never, and yeah, got around both of them, and luckily that caution came out literally like half a lap later. So kind of worked out in my favor, because honestly, if the race had gone green the rest of the way, I don't know if I would have been able to hold off Apollo, RJ, or even William for the win, because I was going through the field like a madman. Just trying to push it above my limits, but that also means that my tires would be shredded off like a piece of paper down at the end of the run. But luckily that caution came out. I was able to get full fresh Goodyear tires and hold off Apollo. And yeah, man, like I said, I was being mad, at least to me. I don't know what it is, but whenever I get mad over something silly like that, that puts me out of contention seemingly. I guess it boosts my it boosts my motivation. I guess I don't know. I guess
It
I
boosts
always
the adrenaline a little bit.
I guess it always works out for me in the long run. I don't know why, but it always seems to work out for me. So
Well, it definitely worked out here tonight as you got your second win in a row. We didn't see a whole lot of that really pissed off mindset last week, but you're still able to get the win. And you know what? Hey, You got a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. You know, you got spun around. You know, we were surprised in the broadcast. Like I had my hand on the caution button ready to put out the graphic. We were surprised that wasn't a multi, but you know what? It all shakes out in the end. The racing gods giveth and the racing gods taketh, and you know you're able to take your second consecutive win here tonight. But looking ahead to the Daytona backstretch. You know, a completely new animal for a lot of these drivers. You know, I don't think I've only done a single race there in offline. I know it's very technical. I don't know if you've done anything like that in online, but what are you looking forward to the most about the Daytona backstretch course next week?
Expect chaos. That's about all I could say.
I definitely know we can't. We'll expect a lot of chaos, especially with the tire barriers there being solid objects. So much like some of the chaos that we saw at Pensacola a couple weeks back with some of the tire wear, or rather the tire barriers, we'll probably see a little bit more of the same. But Caleb, you got any final thoughts here for our winner tonight?
Definitely have to say that was quite the race y'all put on here tonight from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We were talking. This track just absolutely never seems to disappoint, no matter what series takes to the track. And tonight was absolutely no different. Y'all put on a heck of a show, and definitely have to give you a lot of props, especially coming back from being a lap down, charging your way back through the field, and that inside 3-wide move that you made on the front stretch, like I said, is going to live in my head rent-free for probably the next 6 months. So definitely have to give you a lot of props there. A fantastic run tonight, and absolutely earning that win. Great job, my dude.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that it's going to be in your mind for a while, because I'm sure that everyone watching at home is going to be thinking about that move for a while too. So I'm glad that I may not have may not have been the way that I wanted it to be, having to charge my way through the field like that, but I guess for the audience at home, I gave all the fans at home a hell of a show.
You definitely did, because
Absolutely.
we were keeping tabs on you all the way from the back. Because okay, you're back on the lead lap, you're on fresh tires, and we're just gonna watch him go to work. And all throughout that run, we watch you making your way up, making it a four-way battle for the race lead, and that dive bomb all the way down was just classic racing out of you. And a well-deserved win out of you here tonight, Dunn. Before we'll let you go, we'll give you the floor once again to thank any sponsorships that you've got. If there's anybody you want to shout out here on the NR2003 airwaves for the second time this season, the second week in a row, the floor is yours.
Well, as the usual, first and foremost, want to give a shout out to you and Caleb for broadcasting the race and commentating it from the booth. I know that y'all had a heck of a time. Had a really fun time watching it up there, I bet. Shout out to Tyler Stallhoof League. Shout out to everyone who raced tonight. Shout out to Apollo and William for a great podium finish out of all of them. And everybody that was racing here tonight as well. Shout out to all of them. Shout out to me and Fob. Shout out to everyone watching at home. And shout out to everyone for making me a better driver and a person.
Well, you definitely showed off that high level of talent that you got here tonight. A come from behind a win for 2 in a row. See if you can bowl that turkey next week on the back straightaway at Daytona. But Dunn, thanks again for coming on here in the post race, and we'll see you next week down at the World Center of Racing.
Yep, thank you all.
User was moved out of your channel.
That was Dunn LaPrade, driver of the number 74, the Schaefer Group Chevrolet Camaro, your race winner here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We're going to take one final look at that race-winning dive bomb that helped propel Dunn LaPrade to the win here tonight. We'll take a look at it one more time before we'll get things out of Dodge. And you know what we'll do? We'll take it in slow-mo, Caleb, as we'll go ahead and watch LaPrade. Just watch him. He's got a little bit of a lane there. Just cuts all the way down right in front of William Gregory. I know William probably crapped his pants there. You know, if Gap race car, there is nothing to it. And Dunleprod would go on to lead the final 12 laps of that race to get the job done. It doesn't get any better than that, Caleb.
Absolutely not. Like I said, that was an absolutely beautiful move. Perfectly timed. Just barely got enough room behind the 100 and in front of the 31 and executed absolutely flawlessly. Dove it all the way down to the inside and was able to clear there going into turns 1 and 2. I don't know if that could have been executed any more perfect than it was. Just a fantastic move, and honestly kind of cool to think that was the race-winning move there for Dunleprod, as like you mentioned, even with that caution flag, was able to lead the rest of the race and brought it home there in that number 74. So just what a race overall here from Vegas, and boy, next time out, definitely going to be very, very fun as well. Daytona backstretch, don't really know what to expect from that track, but should definitely be a lot of fun, as is usually the case for some good old classic short track action.
There's nothing that's ever wrong with classic short track action. We always love the short track action, and that is going to be our next race here. That's going to be our middle point of the season. It's hard to believe we're already 5 races down to the 11-race slate, and we're already just making our way through. We are knocking them off 1 week at a time, instant classic after instant classic. I'd say all 5 races so far have been barn burners. And, you know, if Dunn is able to get back in this championship battle, this could be a really tight battle between him and Apollo Hyde for this championship. But you go back, you know, Apollo Hyde winning the first 2 races of the year, and then you got Tyler Stallhood winning at Pensacola because he's just the god of that place, and then Dunleprod winning the last 2 races at Hanford and at Las Vegas. We're gonna notice a lot. We're gonna see a lot next week at Daytona. About a lot of these guys, but before we go, we'll go ahead and do a top-down rundown through the entire order from tonight's race. Dunleprod getting the race win, leading 11 laps on the night. Got that race win by 0.2 of a second over Apollo Hyde. William Gregory rounds out your podium. Vincenzo Focasato and Crystal Bennett rounded out the top 5. Ike Durman finished in 6th. Emmy Schizzato finished 7th. RJ Bishop was able to rally back to finish in 8th. Rich Roy got a top 10 finish for that number 29 crew. Fantastic run out of him as well, and Drew Fast. After everything that he went through tonight, he'll come out smell like a rose in that top 10 position. Blake Warren got 11th. Tyler Stallhood finished in 12th. Trek Togger finished 13th. Brent Warren finished 14th. Tate Dorsey rounded out top 15. Taylor Stolworthy was 16th. Connor Edwards 17th. Andrew Estrada was 18th. And Bud Kerrang, 7 laps down, but still chugging at the end of this race, finished 19th. Last car on the grid here tonight. But like we said, next week on March 18th at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the North American Sim Racing Network, it is the one, the only, the World Center of Racing back straightaway short track racing edition next week at the Daytona International Speedway at the UNOH Battle on the Beach. Of course, at the little bull ring down the back straightaway at the World Center of Racing. That's going to be an absolute blast. Like we said, 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time. That's when things are going to start. But that is then, and this was now. Congratulations once again to Dunleprod for winning the Las Vegas 100. On behalf of Caleb Rose, for Tyler Stallhood and the entire Fuel Racing League, my name is Trey Wright, saying so long from Las Vegas, Nevada. This has been a presentation of the North American Sim Racing League, the North American Sim Racing Network's coverage of the Fuel Racing League. Have a great night, folks. We'll see y'all next week at the World Center of Racing.